This is the 2016 Hyundai Tucson, a Korean crossover that many seem very excited about. And should they? Watch this to find out.
Tucson used to be called ix-35, which used to be called Tucson. When launching the second generation of its popular compact SUV, Hyundai decided to change the name to ix-35 in Europe. ix-35 corresponded with the ix-onic concept. The concept was interesting to look at in and out, but the production model... Yeah, I know it was popular and all, but to me it looked like a bottom-feeder fish. Anyway, after 6 years, Hyundai decided Tucson Arizona sounds better than generic ix-35. And there's also no point calling the same car different names around the world.
I remember a couple of years ago, Hyundai press office asked me whether I'd like to review their ix-35 again. I politely declined for aesthetic reasons, and perhaps they remembered what I said, because now I had to wait over 6 months for a test drive in the new Tucson. Shame, because unlike its predecessor, it's great to look at from just about any angle. Tell you what, I'll play some beauty shots and music, and we'll enjoy the view together. But judging by ix-35 sales, you're probably more interested in practicality than looks.
If you go for one of the two top-spec versions, you can have electrically operated tailgate. Boot volume is 513 liters with a full-size spare. Depending on the market and trim, you may get a repair kit. Side hooks are useless, but I like the one on the backrest of the seat. The boot cover can be attached by the floor or stowed away underneath it if there is no spare wheel. There is a 12-volt socket in the boot. Backrests in the second row fold flat, expanding cargo volume to over 1500 liters. Backrests have adjustable tilt, they are a 40-60 split, there are cup holders in the armrest, and there is a place for bottles in the door bins. Side seats can be heated and they have ISOFIX mounts. There is a small tunnel running through the middle, legroom and headroom is more than sufficient if you're 175 centimeters tall like me. In the front, at first glance, everything looks good. The dashboard is simple, elegant and seems solid.
Initial positive impression is ruined as soon as you start touching things. Yes, this is still a Hyundai, and these are still hard Hyundai plastics. And perhaps you would like to store a key or some coins here. They'll rattle on every bump. This is the subtle difference between a Hyundai and, let the hate begin, a Volkswagen.
But there is proper storage, cup holders, two 12-volt sockets, a USB port, sat-nav available on higher trim models, heated and ventilated seats, autonomous parking.
Yes. There is a slight problem with the Tucson, because even if you mute the radio sound, but you switch the car off, when you turn the ignition on and back again, the radio comes on. And there is no permanent mute. So be careful about that if you got some sleeping kids with you or something, because the radio will always come on. The only way to deal with it is to switch the whole infotainment off completely, and then you don't have sat-nav. This is the range-topping 2-liter 185 horsepower diesel mated to a 6-speed automatic. It's not the fastest compact SUV out there at 9.5 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. Only Honda CR-V is slower, but the Honda CR-V has got a 1.6-liter diesel. Okay, there is the 2-liter 143 horsepower Toyota RAV4, but Toyota would rather compare the most powerful Tucson to RAV4 hybrid. For a crossover, Tucson has surprisingly sensitive steering, and I got into it straight from Volkswagen Golf R. That's a pretty good steering here. With a manual transmission, you get flex steer, which changes the amount of assistance in the power steering, electric power steering, but in an automatic you get a drive mode button which you press and then it goes into some sort of sport mode. But let's not kid ourselves, even in sport mode this isn't exactly the fastest car around, and the diesel engine sounds like it would rather prefer I kept admiring this car parked. And this is a good looking car.
By fluke, I am test driving the new Kia Sportage at the same time. You'll see its review next week, or you can watch it now because you're watching me sometime later and you can click the link somewhere around my head. My test Kia was powered by a 1.6 turbo petrol engine producing 177 horsepower. It was mated to a 7-speed DCT. It felt more refined. Differences in acceleration and fuel consumption are negligible. The 2-liter diesel should use 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers and the turbocharged petrol around a liter more, claims the manufacturer. In real life, both cars use between 8 and 9 liters combined. Unless you're planning to do a lot of motorway driving, paying $3,000 more for diesel just doesn't make sense.
Visibility is fine, suspension is fine, lane assist system is tad too aggressive for my liking, but it also corrects my steering. However, it doesn't correct it enough for me to actually... Oh, now it didn't work. Come on. There's a lane here. It works whenever it likes. So anyway, now it worked for reasons which remain obscure to me. Anyway, it's not good enough, like in a Volkswagen, to actually keep you between the lanes. There is just I'll switch it off. There is just a slight bit of kind of steering input, but it won't really change your direction. This car also has cross traffic alert for reversing, and that's something I appreciate because when reversing, it's very often the case that people will not even slow down when they see you reversing. They will just keep on going, and then it's your problem.
You can have the Tucson with front or all-wheel drive. The latter has a 4x4 lock button, which comes in handy when the going gets a bit tougher on the last mile. There is also hill descent assist, but chances are you'll never have to use it.
Compared to Kia Sportage, Hyundai Tucson looks more mature, at least from the outside, but the interior just feels a bit too cheap. Too many hard plastics are within reach, and it's just not as premium as it looks. On the other hand, Tucson has a bigger boot than the Sportage, but it's also more expensive.
Which brings us to the price. This top-spec all-wheel drive 2-liter diesel automatic Tucson costs around $45,000. A similarly spec'd Volkswagen Tiguan will set you back around 55,000 euro, and that's including extended warranty option to match Hyundai's 5-year warranty.
At first glance, the Tucson looks interesting, but upon closer inspection it turns out to be very much average. A Korean Skoda, if you like. So I suspect it's going to sell like hotcakes.
And do you like the new Hyundai Tucson? Let me know in the comments below. Share, rate and subscribe. Also feel free to donate to my PayPal or Patreon. You'll find the links in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.